This message is just for you. You are good enough. This is the episode for you. Now is the right time to start taking your language and using it in the real world. You already have what it takes to speak and write in your new language, even if you just started it this week. And I know it probably doesn't feel like it. For so many of us, when we think about the right language level to have a conversation, we think about all the things that we can do in our native language. And it seems impossible that we could replicate that in a language that we only started recently. Actually, it seems impossible that we could replicate that in a language that we've been studying for several years. But your language level isn't the problem. Looking to your native language as a benchmark for when you're ready, that is the problem. Because when you look to natural, native level conversations, you ignore everything that you can do right now at your own level. You miss the opportunity to take the words and the phrases that you already know and give them a meaningful job to do. So when I started learning Portuguese, it was in full pandemic. It was just when countries were starting to shut down. And I knew that my main priority was to speak and to make meaningful connections with real people as fast as possible. Because that's what I always want languages for. So I started writing short messages to people within the first week of starting Portuguese. At that time, all I had was the greetings, the numbers, days of the week, months of the year, and I also had what I consider to be the most important vocabulary of all, and that is simple praise words. Well done, fantastic, perfect. Because once you've got praise words, you can start making those meaningful connections. And it can be as simple as leaving comments on people's reels and TikToks, praising them for their artwork or their singing. You can thank language teachers for the content that they put out. And it doesn't need to be full sentences, it can be a single word. It doesn't even need to be spelt perfectly, it just needs to be clear enough to get the message across that you see them and you appreciate them. And guess what else? Right from day one, you can start speaking. Here's how I did it. I always recommend, wherever possible, matching your levels. So if you are a native English speaker just starting out in Spanish, as counterintuitive as it sounds, I always recommend finding Spanish speakers who are just starting out in English to practice with. And the reason for that is, if you speak to people who are already stronger in your native language than you are in theirs, the inner critic will invariably pop up and tell you that you're wasting their time, you're frustrating them, and it's better for both of you if you just revert to English. And there will be such an obvious gap between what you both do in your language time and what you both do in their language time, if you split it, for example, 30 minutes each, that you will always feel behind. So find complete beginners. Create a space for both of you where full sentences are not going to be the primary mode of communication for quite some time. Create a space for showing and telling and using praise words and trying. Arrange your conversations however you need to. Do it in writing to minimize confusion. Use translation software if you have to. That's not a problem. It's not important. The most important thing is that you get yourself the opportunity to say some words. So what do you do next with your almost non-existent language? Take people on a tour of your world. The wonderful thing about video calls is that they allow you to bring people with you without words. You can show people objects, places, or images on your screen and teach them the keywords in your native language. So you show them a cup and you say cup. They repeat that word. You use your praise words. And then they do the same thing for you in their native language. Test each other on vocabulary. Maybe you might agree your topics in advance, again in writing using whatever methods you can, even if that's emojis. What matters is that you can both come to the conversation, maybe having learned 10 or 15 items of vocabulary. Quiz each other and then use those praise words. And look, you are speaking. And more than that, you're making a difference already in this language that you are a complete beginner in. And that's amazing. And then slowly you'll add more things into that conversation. Questions like, what's this? And is it masculine or feminine if that's relevant to your language? You'll add more praise words, praise phrases, more detailed feedback. And that is how communication happens. That is how fluency grows. And that is how you can avoid ever going onto a forum and asking, when will I be ready to talk to native speakers? You're not aiming to speak like a native speaker. You're not aiming for full sentences. You're aiming to help someone feel seen and supported in their language learning. And that is how you start. You can do this, language learners, so don't wait. Spend one morning preparing if you want. Get those praise words together and then take a deep breath and go for it. And tell me how it goes in the comments below. Best of luck, have a wonderful day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.